Apple could be the collateral damage in the escalating trade war between Donald Trump's U.S. administration and China's government, a Wall Street analyst has warned. Ahead of Apple reporting Q4 fiscal 19 financial results on the 1st of November, Bernstein briefed investors on what to expect for the trading period and beyond into the next, but more on that later. The Mac maker is an important staple for the U.S. and China economies. In its homeland, it is the largest business by market cap, employs 80,000 staff and claims to support 450,000 jobs through its American supply chain. Mainland China, which accounts for 13% of Apple's annual sales, is the base of Foxconn, the contract manufacturer that produces Apple's iPhones. Bernstein estimated Apple indirectly supports 2 million to 3 million locals via Foxconn and the wider supplier ecosystem. Getting squeezed by the grip of a trade war between the U.S. and China governments isn't a place that Apple or the broader U.S.-based tech industry relishes. The U.S. slapped a tariff on $50 billion of goods, including tech, imported from China in June and then 10% on $200 billion last month. China retaliated by adding tariffs to $60 billion worth of products imported from U.S. We believe that only the Mac Mini, airport routers, tech accessories like Magic Mouse and various chargers, and leader accessories are thus far impacted by the tariff, said Bernstein analyst Daniel Chen. That means, collectively, just 1% of Apple's revenues were so far hit by a 10% duty. The impact isn't so bad, at least not yet. However, more shots yet may be fired by the U.S. and China. While neither side wants to hurt Apple, it is possible that if the trade war escalates, Apple could be the collateral damage, Chen added. Apple isn't the only unfortunate casualty of the tit-for-tat trade squabbles between two giant nations. The huge proportion of tech made in China means many vendors are feeling the burn, notably Cisco. HP Inc.'s CEO said he is watching with interest if Trump follows through with his latest threat to turn up the tariff on $200 billion worth of imports from 10 to 25%. Lobbyists will play an important role as the U.S. and China trade dispute runs and runs, Steve Brazier, CEO at channel analyst Canales, said at his Lively Channels forum in Barcelona this month. Apple AirPods, the earphones, were on the initial list of products imported to the U.S. from China, but magically when the 10% tariff went live in June, they had been taken off the list, he said at the event. Their lobbyists, I suspect, did a very good job of avoiding the tariffs, Brazier added. There is likely going to be impact of future tariffs and it will be very difficult for vendors to manage this. It's so uncertain and it keeps changing. Greater China accounted for a fifth of Apple's revenue in each of the past 4 quarters, so the general health of the local economy is obviously important to the company. The iPhone and related services, licensing, iCloud, Music, App Store, and AppleCare, have been the primary draws for customers in the Middle Kingdom. However, local demand for handsets made by non-Chinese brands has decelerated, Bernstein pointed out. This was good news for Huawei in calendar Q2, not so much so for Apple. We await calendar Q3 numbers. Bernstein said the weak spot of smartphone gaming in Tencent's Q2 financial results could portend weak Apple App Store sales in China. We estimate that China might account for 1/3 of Apple App Store services revenues or 9% of total services revenue. Prolonged weakness in gaming could be a material headwind to Apple's all-important services. Revenue growth expectations for this quarter are for a rise in iPhone units and average sales prices to $800 from $741 a year ago, due to the more expensive mix of handsets released recently. Bernstein said it estimates total company revenues of $63.3 billion for Q4, which Apple reports on the 1st of November. Bernstein said it expects flattish iPhone unit sales and gross margins for fiscal 19 but higher ASPs that will beef up products revenues. Registered